Now, a lot more texts and comments coming in on Facebook, on our different Facebook pages, and also on our Twitter accounts. Texting in as well, 083 333 975, text or WhatsApp. Damien, in order for anything to change at UHW, attitude has to change. It might be interesting for you to talk to staff on the floor and ascertain why staff morale is the way it is. Damien, I'd appreciate if you could mention, please, that the catering staff are in working to provide emergency cover to feed patients, which was agreed by all union reps, including cleaning reps, yesterday. So the catering staff are in there to provide emergency cover to feed patients. Damien, I can't give you my name. I'm not allowed to talk to the media, but there's no collection of dirty linen from this morning because of this strike. So that, as I said earlier, could be a development in the dispute at UHW. Another texter, Damien, it's bloody disgusting the way these workers are being treated and the way the new people are being treated as well. As I said, we've requested a statement from the company Momentum and we'll see what they have to say, but we haven't heard anything back from them. As I said earlier, support local journalism. Waterford News and Star is only €2.70. There is so much reading in it. Munster Express only €2.50. An awful lot of reading in it as well. So please do go out there. That's less than a cup of coffee for a week and support those. Another text, my God, this is beyond inhumane regarding the story on the 24/7 this morning. Civil servants decide who lives and who dies. Something has to be done immediately. Now, I'm going to talk to Anne Scully in a second about Me Too and about how the Harvey Weinstein case, that horrible, horrible man, has affected people here in Waterford and in Ireland. Firstly, Julie has compiled some voices from reaction from the verdict yesterday.
They delivered not guilty verdicts on the two most serious charges, that of predatory sexual assault, but they did deliver guilty verdicts on two of the lesser charges. But when I say lesser charges, let's not trivialise it. They are still charges, one of which carries a maximum of 25 years in jail. Sentencing will come at a later date.
He was the king, and he's no longer will be the king. He will have rapist tattooed across his forehead forever.
It feels like one piece of this terrible ordeal for so many women, so many people, is at least in one aspect put to rest. It feels like a victory. It feels like justice is served.
Right now I'm happy to see that those years that I lost of my life are getting back. Of course, there is a lot of work to do, so that a situation like this would never happen again.
The Me Too movement is bringing about a lot of change, a lot of conversation about sexual assault, about equity for women. And I'm grateful that my speaking out along with these women has made a difference.
With this verdict, I hope that survivors will see that in this justice system, prosecutors, judges, and juries will believe them, even when the facts are not simple.
Anne Scully, good morning.
Good morning, Damien.
And thank you for joining us. You're manager of the Waterford Rape and Sexual Abuse Centre. And I suppose a little bit of a health warning on this if anybody is listening to this and has children. We may be discussing issues that may not be good for young ears. What was your reaction primarily, Anne, to the verdict yesterday?
I suppose, Damien, I was glad that he was found guilty on some of the charges. I suppose we have very mixed feelings about it because we're thinking maybe as well of all the survivors who don't get their day in court and who didn't get to face Harvey Weinstein and say what he had done to them. I think it's a landmark in lots of ways because he's a man obviously of huge power, and I think the message from this is possibly one that power won't protect you any longer, that the people who don't have power in the system can now speak out.
One of the things that did come up in the case was the interrogation that the accusers got from the lawyers, from Harvey Weinstein's lawyers. Some of it was now they would argue, well, it's their job to do that, but some of it was horrendous, to say the least.
Absolutely, and it's their job to defend their client and defend him rigorously, but there are also, I would say, there are limits maybe beyond which you shouldn't go, and I mean, it was very difficult for those women to come forward. I think that there was a lot that happened in the case that would have been very difficult for survivors to hear, particularly And in particular, that bit about the cross-examination they got in court and the things that they were accused of, like of being liars and of making it up and of going after his money, etc., etc. The fact that they stuck with it through all of that is just, I have so much feeling for their courage and their bravery and their tenacity in sticking through that. And I think it's important to point out as well, Damien, that the American justice system is very different to the system we have here.
Yes.
Similar to the Belfast trial that happened a couple of years ago. And that's, I suppose, saying to people here that the way things work in other jurisdictions are not necessarily the way they work here. So for people to try not to take that into account if they're considering themselves whether to go forward or not, and to look for information and advice on how it will actually happen here.
Yeah, I was just going to talk about that, because he's been cleared of 3 of the 5 charges, but he has been convicted of a number of serious charges. A text in from somebody: the Me Too campaign has been fantastic to raise awareness and get those guilty to see justice, but there's a danger in it, says this person, as men or women can use social media to make an accusation about someone, and they can be judged on social media without a court of law. The court of law here sometimes is flawed. It needs to be changed. That's the way the Me Too campaign needs to go forward. Where is the Me Too campaign? Is there a Me Too campaign in Ireland, Anne? Like, how do you define it? I suppose you could say there's maybe a number of campaigns going on in this country. Obviously, Rape Crisis Centres and Rape Crisis Network Ireland have been campaigning for changes, not only to the law that will help survivors come forward, but also to societal attitudes and to challenging the myths that exist around rape and sexual assault and sexual abuse. Obviously, then there's also the government campaign, the No Excuses, that's running on television at the moment. So there's a number of forums, I suppose, where that message is being put out. There's the consent programs that are going to be rolled out in our third level educational institutions. For Roiga and youth clubs run programs. There's a number of campaigns around power and around the dynamic in relationships and around the issue of consent and around the not accepting a level of behaviour that allows rape and sexual assault to exist in our society. Yes. Like, I was talking to a person recently about a relative of his who had been allegedly sexually assaulted just at the side of a place, a public establishment, let's put it like that. And she didn't know whether to go forward. And like, she has gone to the guards. And it's important that if you feel in any way that you've suffered any kind of assault, that you go to the guards. Isn't that it?
Well, I suppose what I'd say is that needs to be a decision for each individual, because going to the guards can be a very empowering thing to do for a lot of people. It can also be a difficult process. And what I'd say to people is maybe you go to the guards and you can get information and advice from them. You can get that from us as well and from various other organisations. I think that the more people that come forward, the more pressure can be brought to bear on the need for change within our legal system. But I wouldn't want to put the responsibility for that on any particular individual. But I think that... No, but
if somebody, with the support of their family, like, you can't go round accusing people of different things unless you actually make a formal statement, either through yourselves or through the guards. So, and again, that it might take years for people to do that. Like, people have saying, why wasn't Harvey Weinstein found out beforehand, So it can take a long time.
It can take a long time, and people do need to be careful, as you're saying, about maybe statements that are made on social media, etc. Because that's a whole, as we all know, and has been for some years, that's a whole hugely problematic area. But I think that people, certainly in the guards, have done. I mean, the guards have a protective services unit now. There's a sexual assault treatment unit based in WAterford. It's our University Hospital, WAterford. And I think there are a lot of services there now for people. I suppose the message that I give, Damien, is people that have no need to carry this on their own anymore. Help is there.
Yes.
Help is available. Make use of it.
And listen, thank you so much. The free phone number is 1-800-296-296. That's 1-800-296-296. You can text 087 2233 730. Anne Scully, manager of the Waterford Rape and Sexual Abuse Centre. Thanks very much.
Thanks, David.
Thank you, Anne. And the number again there, 1-800-296-296. If you're affected by anything we've been discussing this morning on this. Damien, I just happened to be in a hospital 3 days last week. Some of the cleaners are not doing the job properly, but others are saying that they do a really good job and that they work very, very hard in what they do. Damien, the dispute in the hospital has nothing to do with how clean the hospital is. It's the public who dirty the hospital. The cleaners do their best and are under considerable pressure. That is in from Martin. Another caller saying she used to work in the hospital. A disinfectant was diluted 5-1. They used to have 2 people to clean a ward and the wards would be spotless. Now the cleaners are not allowed enough time to clean the ward properly. Bernie Power has been talking to Sinead from our news team, and Bernie Power is a shop steward for the cleaners on strike.
It's actually, at the moment, it's very, very stressful to be working out there. People are under an awful lot of stress and they're going into work because they feel they're not being listened to. They feel the management are being, what way will I put it, anything but polite to them. There's a question of wages. People are working long hours and not being paid the right rate. And when they look for it, they're waiting and waiting weeks, and still the management are saying they don't owe it to them. There's just so much going on. It's a horrible situation to be in. I'm working there 26 years now in March, and I've worked under 4 different contracts. ISS were there twice, and never ever did I meet such people. Been so hard to deal with. It's an everyday, a change every day, or somebody coming to me every day with a problem, pulling people out of areas. And we have the Dunmore Wing, which is the new palliative care unit, which was basically built by the people of Waterford. But we, ISS staff, are not allowed work in there because they said they tendered for that at a lower rate. So they're putting staff that they hired for 1080 in there. Even though we have workers worked on the cancer ward for years, and when it was transferred over, we're not allowed to transfer with them. So that in itself is very, very unfair. We're being treated as though we're still working for ISS. So the way it's going now, people just don't want to even be going to work. And people are going into work, and this day and age mental health is a big, big issue. And they are not helping in any sense or form with that.
The job you do is a really important one.
The job we do is very important. And I was at a meeting there a few weeks ago. They brought in a cleaning solution. And I brought it up. It was handed to me in neat form. When I read it should never have been used that way. I was told it was a multi-purpose cleaner, which it wasn't. I brought it up at a meeting and they brushed me aside. Now, since then, when I read it all, you're supposed to have protective clothing, goggles, everything else, which we were never given, never trained how to use it. We've had 6 or 7 instances of people getting bad burns. 3 people got in their eye, 1 got a very, very bad burn, chemical burn on her leg. And this company has not approached one of them to ask how they are. So that just proves when it comes to people, it's nothing to them. It's basically, you're in there to do a job, we don't care about you.
You take pride in your job, like you're doing the same job almost 26 years.
Yes.
It's a long time.
It's a long time, and I worked in X-ray for 13 years, so obviously our work is good enough until we get moved every so often now. But I'm up in the cancer clinic now, which was maternity for years. Get on brilliant with all the staff. Never a complaint. They get on with us. They're quite happy with the work that's been done. So we're doing it right. But those people are impacting you so much now that there will be mistakes made and there will be things left there because people haven't got the same interest in going to work, number one. But always at the back of your mind is we're doing it for the patients. We're not doing it for momentum. Because at the end of the day, it could be somebody belonging to me going into that hospital. I don't want them to go into a dirty area.
Taking that decision to go out on strike, I mean, for the full day at least, there'll be no cleaning services provided by you and your colleagues?
There'll be no cleaning service by us, but Momentum have staff in there on 1080 an hour, which they have basically in the Dunmore Wing at the moment. But as far as I can see, they'll be using them to clean the area. Now, there'll be areas they won't be trained on.
Now, welcome back to the programme. We are going to be reading out the comments from your texts and keep them coming in. Firstly, we're going to talk to Claire Williams. Good morning, Claire.
Morning, Damien. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Claire, who are you?
Who am I? So my name is Claire Williams. I work in marketing. I look after marketing for Chia Bia, a health food company based in Tramore. We also opened a vegan and vegetarian cafe, Bia and Brew, back in 2018. And most recently, our most recent endeavour has been opening the Cove stores in Newtown, so a family-owned convenience store.
Tell us, we had a big issue and a lot of people texting in about refillable milk bottles. And Nigel was also talking about it out in Dunmore, yeah?
Yes.
and then in Tramore. Like it's refillable milk bottles. Tell me about it.
Okay, so the idea came about for the kind of the refillable milk station when we, as I suppose, kind of to roll it back, Co Stores, our ethos is to kind of reduce single-use plastic and reduce waste. So like that, our fruit and veg, they don't come in plastic packaging. It's all eco brown bags. So everything is put into brown bags at store level. So then we were kind of looking at the refillable model and what we could do with that. Again, based, like, consumers were asking us for refillable options.
Were they literally coming in? Yeah.
So with that in mind, we said, okay, we'll trial. We talked to the milk supplier and we launched the refillable milk station 2.5 weeks ago now. And so we got an amazing kind of reaction from customers online and both at store level. So we have the 3 different size containers.
So talk to me, how did you actually get this milk station? Like, is it something you just buy?
Yeah, well, we just worked with our milkman, the local milkman.
What's his name?
Tom Phelan.
Hello, Tom. How's it going?
Yeah, it's like nice little plug for Tom. And I just spoke with him and said, is it possible? And he said, listen, you can get a station. It's a 13-gallon container. And like that, you can just refill.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how does it work?
So in terms of Cove Stores and the way we operate, you have the option to bring your own container or to buy a glass bottle. So we have a 1 litre glass bottle, 500ml and 250ml. 1 litre being the most popular because Irish families and Tramore and Waterford families love milk. So yeah, the 1 litre is excellent.
And how much does it cost to buy a bottle? If
you have your own bottle and you're just refilling, it's €1.30 a fill, as opposed to for the 1 litre Tetra Pak, it's $1.49. So there's a 19-cent incentive to refill. And then if you need your glass bottle, it's €2. So €2 for your bottle and the fill. Okay. And is there a lid on the bottle? There's a lid, yeah. Is it a screw top or what is it? Screw top lid, yeah. Okay. And like that, we best before date each will say fill of milk, so you know when you have to use that milk by. Okay. And do people have to wash their own bottles? Yeah. So again, if you're refilling your own container, we would advise obviously to sterilise the bottle, but we have facilities to sterilise. If a milk container comes in and it's looking a bit sad, we'll replace it with a new glass bottle and we'll sterilise. Okay, because if somebody has a milk bottle, they wash it at home and just give it a wash out. Yeah. Is that not okay? It's similar, like when you're doing your dishes at home, as you would with any of your containers. Your sudsy water. It doesn't, it's just a wash. And have you found anybody's got really into this? Like, is somebody coming in with 6 milk bottles? Oh, yes. We have lots of families, and the kids are drinking it by the time they get out of the car. There's nearly 1 litre gone between the backseat passengers. So we have some very loyal customers. And has it affected sales of milk in the Tetra Pak? Yeah. We have seen, so our particular milk is the Avonmore Super Milk. So we have seen a decline in the Tetra Pak sales of the retail product because people are refilling. But while you're losing one way, you're gaining in another. So. And is that the milk that you sell within the station? In the store. Okay. Yeah, in the station, pardon. Yeah, it's the super milk. Why is that? Because it was actually one of the only milks that were available in the 13-gallon containers. So we said we'd start with that and see what kind of demand we got for the whole refillable kind of model. And then we can look at like super or light milks and maybe plant-based milks or goat's milk. We've had a request for goat's milk as well. Goat's milk as well? Yeah. So, you name it, we get the request. It sounds brilliant. It's out at Cove Stores at the minute. I think we'd Nigel talking to us as well. They're doing it in Dunmore. Yes, that's correct. And we also had Councillor James Tobin on recently talking about milk and the lack and I suppose milk bottles not being delivered to people's homes now has seen the rural Ireland going in decline. Do you think, and this combines with what you're doing with Chia Bia and I suppose reusable products, do you think there's more people now a lot more conscious of what little things they can do for the environment? Yeah, that's it. It's really about, and that's what we say, like in Cove Stores, we're not perfect. These are little things we're doing, and like a lot of small things add up. So like that, we have the milk station, but we also have, we'll say, this as simple as a reusable coffee cup. So to stop coffee cups going to landfill. So there's an incentive there. It's a bigger incentive. It's 30-cent incentive to bring your own cup or to buy a to-go cup which we chatted about before.
Yes.
So your €1 reusable coffee cup. So very accessible for people.
Yeah.
And then last week we launched a refillable station for household products. So this is where you can come in and refill your own containers from home. So your washing up liquid, your laundry detergent or your fabric softener. So we've just 3 refillable household products at the moment, with a view again to extend to shampoo, conditioner, hand soap, you name it. So it's just small steps and just get to consumers thinking, okay, actually, let's refill this.
Does it make sense, economic sense from your perspective? Like as a retailer, is it something that you can actually make money out of?
Yeah, the margins aren't as big. But again, it's less waste, it's less storage room, it's less stock on stock.
And also, you're using it maybe as not as a loss leader, but you're getting people in.
Absolutely, yeah. And then they're
buying something else.
Other ways, yeah.
Because milk is one of those commodity products, like bread. And I did a bit of economics in college. That it's one of those staple things. You get them in for the milk and the bread, and they'll spend a few extra bob on the other ancillaries.
That's it. And we have lots of local kind of an artisan food offerings. So, like that, what goes lovely with a bit of bread, maybe some pesto. So
you're getting me hungry now.
Yeah.
Spar in Ballybeg have the milk refill station. That is from Derek. Damien, could we have this service in Dungarvan, please? There we are now, so they're all getting excited about this. Claire Williams, thank you very, very much.
No problem at all.
It's Cove Stores out at Newtown, and if anybody wants to contact you, they can give you a shout through the store. And also, as I said, there's a few. Spar and Ballybeg have it from Derek, and also Nigel has it, I think, out in Dunmore as well. So we'll keep in touch with that. Listen, I'll pop out someday and we'll have a look at it, okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
Claire, thank you very much.
All the best.
Now, in a minute, I'm going to be talking to Jimmy Fitzgerald. Jimmy's on the line. How are you, Jimmy?
How are you, Damien?
Just hang on there a second, Jimmy, if you don't mind. Fair play to you. And you had a heart attack 4.5 years ago. I just want to read out, because I suppose I'll have to do it, because we said we'd look for a statement from Momentum. This is the company that employs the cleaners, and the cleaners are on strike at the hospital. It says Momentum Support, that's the name of the company, has made every effort to avoid today's industrial action by Unite. Momentum has reached out directly to Unite, has sought intervention at the Workplace Relations Commission in order to engage in meaningful discussions. We understand the WRC is available tomorrow to consider the issue. We're appealing to Unite to postpone the industrial action to avail of this opportunity. Meanwhile, Momentum remains totally committed to early resolution in order to avert strike action, and will work closely with relevant parties to conclude negotiations. And contingency plans in place to ensure any potential disruption of the delivery of daily services will be minimised. And that's effectively it. But another text in from a person, and we haven't got this confirmed from the hospital yet. Damien, just to give you a quick rundown on services that are beginning to be affected by this strike: the laundry, the kitchen, possibly operating theatres, the plaster room, physio, portering, household services. Also, we've had deliveries to the hospital that are being affected as well, because a lot of people haven't passed the picket. So there we go. So again, we'll watch this with interest and stay in touch with our news team in terms of what other developments we have on that. Jimmy, I'm going to go straight to you, and thanks for waiting for us.
No problem, David.
Tell me a little bit about yourself. You were listening to Jenny earlier on talk about the heart attack situation for her father. You had a heart attack 4.5 years ago, did you? Tell me a little.
I can tell you the time, the date, and I can tell the last time I smoked a cigarette, it was October 2015.
Right.
And it was about 3:15, and my wife Peggy panicked. She rang the doctor instead of the ambulance, but my next door neighbour came in and they got the ambulance. But cut long story short, I got to Arkeen at just 5:05.
So you had it at 3:15 in the afternoon, is it?
Yeah.
And where's home for you, Jimmy?
Abbey Park in Ferrybank.
Okay, so you're not too far away, and you got over to the hospital at 5:05. Was this on what day of the week was it?
It was Tuesday.
A Tuesday at 5:05.
It was Tuesday, and the traffic wasn't too bad at that stage.
And did you have to go into the cath lab, or what happened next? Tell me what happened.
My doctor, I don't know too much of what went on. I know my doctor followed the ambulance out west. He didn't think I'd make it even. But all I remember was going into this place, and I was lying back, and whoever the master told me that there's all the problems up on the television. He had me laying on a bed and opened up the television screen. He said, "You can see what we're doing." And next thing I knew, it was 5 to 7, and I coming out of the cath lab.
Right, so the cath lab stayed open because you got in there at 5 to 5. It had to stay open, I suppose.
Yeah, probably. And because I had my own doctor, Dr. Sultan, had followed the ambulance out and was worried. But since then, Damien, where I was in this morning, I spoke to you after one of the
marches
we had.
Yeah.
But but shortly after, a few months after that, Damien, it was probably mid 16, that I started getting this pain in my stomach and my groin area down there, and I went back to my doctor, and he referred me to the hospital to get a scan done. Now, I got the scan done yesterday in the AFIDA out in Arkeen, this new clinic out there.
Yeah, out at just behind Arkeen Superstores there. It's a private place. You got it done yesterday?
Yesterday, at 20 to 4 yesterday.
And how long have you been waiting?
4 years.
How long have you been waiting? 4 years?
4 years. And actually, what happened about a year and a half ago, I got a call from, I'm not sure if it was AFIDA or Arkeen, I don't know, would I be prepared to go someplace else to have a scan? And I told him I would, but I didn't want to get stuck up in County Kildare like I did, for I had a cyst on my back and I had to get removed, and they were going to send me up to some part of Kildare. I ended up getting it off in Wexford. But I got a call and over there go. So I told him I didn't mind staying around Waterford or Kilkenny or Wexford to get it done, but I didn't want to be shoved up halfway up the country to get the scan done. So, as I said, year and a half. That was about a year and a half ago. So I got a call on Friday. Would I go out on Monday for the scan, either 10 to 9 in the morning or 20 to 4 in the evening? I said I'd be delighted. I waited at 20 to 4. It's 20 to 4 one yesterday evening. And Anne-Marie was the lady there looking after me. And she said, you were referred to hospital, she said, in 2016. And that I knew it was in around the 4-year mark. So I was waiting 4 years just to have a scan done.
Jimmy,
I have gallstones now.
That's ridiculous. Huh?
Lucky enough, thank God, I'm not too serious. No, thank God, I have gallstones.
So it's only gallstones, but gallstones can be very sore.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, they are. But I mean, I could be a lot worse. I could have had a repeat of what I had in 2015 to do with the heart.
Yeah.
But it's crazy waiting for so long to have so many. Just to have a scan, 10 minutes. It took roughly 10, 12 minutes.
Yeah. So because of the way the system works, you couldn't get the scan done in the hospital. So they obviously hired the services of AFIDA, and you had it done there. So it's done in a private place, but obviously the hospital is paying for it. Are you on a medical card, or what's the story?
A medical card, and I had a colonoscopy done there last year up in Ortheven in Kilkenny.
Right.
I was waiting about over 2 years for that. So I mean, I'm not just the one who's waiting, Damien. There's hundreds like me waiting for treatments. And
there's thousands like you, Jimmy, waiting. There's thousands.
Probably, yeah.
Oh, sure. Like the figures. I think it's around 1 million people between all the different waiting lists. Like if you're not on a waiting list, you're not anybody in Ireland.
I mean,
it'd be funny if it wasn't so serious, wouldn't it?
I actually spoke to it. The trouble is, I'm not in the Waterford electoral area.
Okay, you're just over the border, are you?
Over the border, yeah. And our junior minister went by, he promised me the Earth, the Moon and Stars at the last general election. You know who I'm talking about, JPP.
I do, yeah, and it didn't happen for you, unfortunately.
It didn't happen, and I just barely caught him going around the area before this election.
Would you like?
Actually call. He didn't call to my door. I caught him up the road. Now I wouldn't be abusive to anybody or like that.
But you had a chat. You had a chat with him.
I said, John Paul, you left me down badly. I said.
And tell me.
I told him straight out. He actually told me that you'll have the cat lab 8 to 8 in about 18 months. And after that, he said, if it's an emergency, you'll be sent to Whitfield.
Because the Whitfield, they are talking about developing the Whitfield, all right.
Yeah.
Do you think, Jimmy, if you were living in the Waterford electoral area, you'd have had a better chance?
No.
No. You don't think it would have mattered if there was a no-fly zone put in over South Kilkenny, no?
Well, as I say, you often got a text there from Jimmy the Cat. I'm Jimmy the Cat.
I know you are, yeah.
I know you. Well, you know who I am. Man.
I do. I know. Listen, fair play to you, and I'm delighted that you've got your scans done now. But it's scandalous that you're waiting that long.
How long am I going to wait now to get them removed or get something done?
Yeah.
And they will have the results back to my doctor in 3 days.
And are you in pain?
That's all it takes. I am certain. I do a fair bit of walking, and for the first 200 or 300 yards that I walk, I get severe pain, but it eases off then later on.
Yeah,
But I didn't even think it might be something I might have pulled a muscle in the groin or something. But that's the results of the scan yesterday.
Jimmy, listen, keep in touch, and I hope you get sorted sooner rather than later, okay?
I'll tell you what, Damien, take a note of the date yesterday, and we'll see how long before I get the actual operation or whatever they're going to do from in the UHW.
I'll tell you, it'd be a kind of a sick competition that we could have, and I use that word sick in a funny sense, if we said, tell us who's the person that's been on a waiting list longest in the area. Huh?
That'd be a good one.
That'd be a good competition, wouldn't it? And we get a prize, and the prize would be we'd get you seen. We'd organise that to get you seen. But somebody's been on the, Jimmy, listen, God bless. Mind yourself.
Thank you, Damien.
Thank you, Jimmy. Jimmy the Cat. Thanks, Jimmy Fitzgerald there, over from Ferrybank. Damien, the Cat Lab is already operational in Whitfield since yesterday for the next 16 weeks. Damien, I was on a waiting list for 4 years for diabetes. I was asked would I go to the Bonds in Cork. I was called last week. I was in and out in 30 minutes. Very nice too. Damien, the only thing Momentum seem to be doing is to cause complete disarray. We've just had a call from the catering staff at UHW. Very important, they say. The kitchen is operating as normal. There are no reduced services. There is no impact on patient care. So a very, very strong call from the catering staff at UHW. The kitchen is operating as normal. There's no reduced service, and there's no impact on patient care. And we heard earlier that the catering staff were going to work with the unions on this and provide the food for the people there. Stay with us. We'll have more of your texts and comments. 083 3333 975. Now 083 3333 975. A WhatsApp text in from West Waterford. Damien, imagine living in West Waterford and having a heart attack at the weekend. By the time the ambulance arrives and gets you to Waterford, the chances of death are probably higher. This cannot be just a Waterford problem. We need to look at an alternative, like a mobile cath lab, or contract staff privately, pay them, or open the lab in the Whitfield. Again, that's what we said, that has been opened. Yeah, it was something that we brought up during the election, that some people in West Waterford say that if you have a heart attack, get somebody to drive you to Youghal, and you're halfway down to Cork, or head straight to Cork. Damien, some of the hospital wards are not very clean. They need to be a lot cleaner. I was there for some time. I didn't see a cleaner. My daughters came in and cleaned. Love the show. Damien, I was in UHW in late October for a pre-op, having a procedure, got letters back and forward. I'm now told it'll be March before I get something done. Bernadette Phillips has also texted in about all the hospital issues. Bernadette is a candidate in the general election, saying there must be 24/7 cardiac care, nothing less. Now we're going to come back to those in a second. Firstly, it's only 3 days to go to this year's Waterford Business Awards. Today it's Marketing Excellence. Karen Tompkins meets the nominees in this category: Crystal Valley Tech, Liberty Blue Estate Agents and Flavins. The winners of this and 12 other categories will be announced at the gala dinner at the Tower Hotel this Friday.
Today's Marketing Excellence category is sponsored by Waterford Institute of Technology. First of the nominees is Crystal Valley Tech. Crystal Valley Tech is a non-profit organisation set up in 2017 to promote tech in the South East. It's an industry-led group whose mission is to influence the development of the national and regional investment in infrastructure, education, training and economic support. Comprised of founders and CEOs in addition to the president of WIT, Professor Willie Donnelly, CVT is a voice for the 122 tech firms of the South East. The organisation is headed up by CEO Elaine Fennelly.
That's what I do in Crystal Valley Tech. I do a huge amount of daily original social media feeds where I go to restaurants, businesses, the Greenway, the beaches, to heritage sites, and I really try and get the message out to people. You can come to the South East and not only have a fantastic quality of life but a brilliant career. It goes hand in hand. You don't have to make sacrifices to move here, and we're getting people reaching out to us on a daily basis. So what we are is a member organisation. So there's 122 tech firms in the South East who represent about 10,000 workers in computing, and our advisory board then is made up of founders and CEOs. So we've got WIT President Willie Donnelly, who's brilliant. We've got Larry Breen, my co-founder from RootMatch, and then we've got the likes of SE2, Sun Life, Very and Immersive VR Education, who give very generously of their time so that we can work our agenda and our strategy to really compete with Cork, Galway and of course Dublin to get tech professionals here. My background is not in marketing, even though I've been nominated for a marketing award. I've been in finance. My most recent gig was as a general manager of a multinational, and I was struggling to fill tech roles, and I was frequently hearing from candidates, oh God, if I move to the south and this doesn't work out for me, there's no other jobs. But I knew there was about 100 firms. I now know there's over 122. So I just decided to get together with some of my friends and colleagues and to really get an organisation together to really get the word out that there's a huge tech cluster, that the TSSG division of WIT has done phenomenal work internationally and nationally, and we're on the map. We do great work in tech and great firms, great variety of positions. So that's why I'm so passionate about it.
Elaine explains that the company has 3 pillars: promotion, recruitment and education. And in the 2 years since being set up, it's made huge progress.
Well, we're about 3 things: recruitment, promotion and education. So we have a jobs fair. We're just about to announce Back for the Future 2020. It's on Paddy's Day, Tower Hotel, and we're going to fill 700 jobs out of that. I was inspired by what the Kilkenny folks in Enterprise Ireland did over Christmas with their Invest Kilkenny, and I said, if they can do it, we can do it. So we're going to do a South East event, and it's going to be fantastic. Later in the year then, we continue to work with third level and with the second level to promote tech as a career, to try and get girls into it that aren't going into it in great numbers, and continuing our promotion so that we continue to sell the South East in a very positive light. Because for the price of a house in Monkstown, 995,000, you can buy 10 houses, a Mercedes and a boat in the South East. You can have a house that's of a decent size. A standard grave in Ireland is 3.3 square metres, yet the proposed co-working living space in Dublin is just double that. So imagine people spending a fortune to live in something twice the size of a grave. Terrible. Mark Zuckerberg bought Oculus, the VR headset company, and to promote the potential of VR, virtual reality, he chose a Waterford company, Immersive VR Education, their Apollo 11 movie. So while Sandra and Dave, the co-founders, were in San Francisco at the event, he came on stage and without them knowing, they saw their movie appear. If the South East is good enough for Mark Zuckerberg, it's good enough for you.
Next in the category, it's Liberty Blue Estate Agents, a multi-award-winning company which provides a complete property service in Waterford City and County and in South Kilkenny. This includes property sales, lettings, management, fit-outs and staging and residential valuations. Founded in 1997 as Bookaroom, the brand has evolved to Liberty Blue to provide a complete property service. Managing Director is Regina Mangan.
One of our values is that we always do the right thing. Another is that we're energetic in terms of our personality. It's all about innovation for us. So we need to be constantly innovating. So Maria Clifford, my colleague and co-director, is doing these property video updates at the moment, talking about different estates. So she did one for Collins Avenue, talking about how many properties sold last year, what the typical price is there. And she did one for in Beaufield there that she put out on Sunday. So it's really, I suppose, providing helpful information for people. We're not always selling. That is part of our marketing strategy, to provide helpful information, and hopefully some people will like what they see and call us.
Liberty Blue Estate Agents pride themselves on being smarter, faster and better than the rest. It's one of the reasons they've made the prestigious shortlist at this year's Waterford Business Awards.
We're in business 23 years. I actually can't believe that, 23 years. I'm thinking, oh my God, I was so young and clueless when I first started out. And I think it's really important, even more so for an established business, to reinvent yourself. I've always been a great admirer of Madonna. She has reinvented herself over and over and over. And in business, in order to survive, you cannot be complacent. And I always believe in surrounding myself by people who know more stuff than me. So we've gone to the UK for the last 4 years, over to London, and we've been meeting agents over there, and I've been going to conferences over there. And so we're learning, and there's great forums in terms of YouTube and Facebook groups, and anyone who's listening there is thinking, well, I don't know where to start. There is just so much information out there. Social media is a minefield because every time you look, there's a new medium. Like, we're fairly full on in terms of LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I'm currently doing a digital marketing course with Marla, funded through the Leo. You have to be continuously learning, and that's what we're doing. And we see then what works and what doesn't work. And really, at the end of the day, why are we doing it? We're doing it so we can serve our customers better, so that we can provide a really good service for our landlords and for our sellers, so that when they give us a property to sell, that we can do the absolute best job for them. And you have to be out there in terms of social media. Traditionally, typically over the years, estate agents have been relying on portals like Daft and My Home, and you can't just leave it to that.
Next in the category, it's Flahavans. Flahavans has been milling oats at the family mill in Kilmacthomas in County Waterford for over 200 years. John Noonan, the Sales and Marketing Director, says Flahavans breakfast and snacking products fit in with growing consumer demand for healthier products.
We employ roughly around 100 people at the moment. We have two aspects to the business at the moment. We have our oat milling, and more recently then we've added a granola and flapjack plant. To make a business work well, it involves a lot of different parts of the business working together very closely. So we're very lucky to have a very strong operations part to our business, very strong finance piece to our business, and a strong marketing and sales piece to our business as well. This year, I suppose we felt that we have made some good headway on the marketing side in terms of the brand share that the Flahavans brand has in the Irish market. So we have a 56% share of the Irish market for hot oats. These days, I suppose, and during the whole time of the recession, it has been important to retain that brand share, and we've successfully done that, and more recently introduced a new way of advertising with the slogan around not your run-of-the-mill oats. So as a company, we spend significantly more maybe than other companies of our size on research. A really important part of what we do is understanding the consumer and how our products relate to the consumer and how we can make our products better for the consumer. It is a challenge, I suppose, for any company looking to export beyond Ireland, but increasingly it's important. When we look at the range of our international markets, the UK is a very important market for us. We would be the UK's largest organic porridge product in the UK. Against the headwinds of Brexit and things like that, we also have to be looking a little bit further afield. Our markets at the moment, I suppose we extend to about 20 markets worldwide. It's all brand. We don't do any private label activity. We're delighted to see a number of those markets in fairly good growth.
You might see Flahavans in the background on television shows like Emmerdale, Mrs. Brown's Boys and even Modern Family. Product placements they didn't even have to ask for. This and other marketing strategies like overnight oats really set them apart from the rest.
Yeah, well, overnight oats is a really interesting thing because it's not prepared. It's a porridge that's not prepared hot. It's left overnight in the fridge. But it was really important for us to try and explain to people around the preparation, because whenever you talk about porridge oats, people invariably think it's prepared hot. But a new cohort of younger people are beginning to prepare oats overnight in the fridge. We teamed up with Gabrielle and Choose Radio Media Central to work on this campaign, and we were absolutely delighted with the results. We did a very strong radio campaign. We drove awareness for the product. I suppose it proved almost as a case study how strong radio can be in terms of launching new products to market. We're always looking at product development and innovation. You know, again, we go back to maybe some of the principles around which work for us as a business. It tends to be around, investment in marketing spend, ensuring that we're always looking and understanding consumers and then taking that through to insights around product development and innovation. proposition, just looking at the investment piece around that in a finance way as well. So we will expect to see continued growth in areas of our business like flapjacks and granola. We'll introduce some new granolas. We'll probably be introducing some new hot oat products as well. We'll certainly be looking at new packaging for export markets as well. So there is a lot happening, I suppose, to continue the kind of level of growth that we're experiencing at the moment.
And those are your nominees in the Marketing Excellence category. Don't forget the winners will be announced this Friday, the 28th of February, at the WAterford Business Awards being held at the Tower Hotel.
Thank you, Karen, for that excellent report as ever. Damien, I'm a retired member of UHW. It doesn't matter where you're a brain surgeon, a doctor or a cleaner, we're all part of the team. We need cleaners in the hospital, or the hospital cannot function without them. Damien, I'm just texting on the Momentum statement. I disagree that they're saying they've been looking to talk to people. They wouldn't acknowledge us. I'm an employee at the hospital. Damien, I was 7 years on the ENT list. Got referred to the South Infirmary in Cork. Called within 7 months. 7 years on the waiting list. Can you do better than that? Let us know. 083 333 975. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Have a great day. Mind yourself.